abilities versus skills. Here's my case, and I only want to use the word case. This is my approach. I don't care if you buy into it or not. It's not about that really. I'm not trying to sell you on it necessarily, but there is a raw to me, abilities are descriptive of raw, not trained. Example: if your intelligence is rated as high, then your capacity to think, your capacity to learn is high versus the average. That doesn't mean you're well educated. Now, in a lot of games, you'll be given added languages, and people say, well, see how you are, you can speak more languages. You've learned from infancy to wherever you're at when you write up the character. You've learned stuff. But you didn't come out of the womb knowing how to speak goblin or orc or whatever it is. You were more intelligent than your peers in that you could be taught. I don't believe that knowing languages is I can inherently interpret something just based on listening to it for a while. Because if that were the case, then you would just be able to learn every language or have a chance to. And maybe in some games that's what it is. But I'm kind of sidetracking. The point still is that if you've got a high IQ but you never go to school, you're not going to make it to where you should be. If you went to school and you had a high intelligence, then you'd succeed at school. And whatever it is, dexterity, it can all be developed through training and practice. Even constitution. I know a fellow who's pretty big. He's built big. But he's not out there honing his body. So his constitution is, he's built thick. He's big boned, Eric Cartman. But if he would actually train in the gym, he'd be bigger, and his constitution would be, if you wanted to apply it to game jargon, would be higher. So, and any attribute, this could be made, even if it's different than D&D. It's not dexterity; it's some other perception or whatever. I can be very aware of my surroundings, but if I don't know how to look for things like a gillisuit versus the normal foliage in the area, there's still a training that makes that raw ability a skill. That's why you go to school. That's why you go to basic training. That's why you train to be a boxer. To be even weightlifting isn't just heavy object lift. You have to learn. So that's why I don't go for attributes just get you to where you want to be. They may, and you may be down with a simpler thing, and that may work for you. And I'm not saying this is never me saying you have to do it my way, or my way is necessarily better. But I do believe that it is more simulationist. It's more an attempt to model things better, more realistically. And some people, I think that's why some people use the word heroic. Well, it's just more heroic. Heroic being more of a cinematic fantasy. Now, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing. That's what a lot of people are trying to achieve, and maybe that's the theme of the system. So, some people always say, well, it just depends on the genre and the system. So certain things work better different ways. Okay, and that may be one of them. But what I see sometimes, I like to solve problems. I like to see when people are debating something because something ain't right or whatever, I like to try to fix it. And I've seen people say, well, this game, or this mechanic isn't really working right because it's not really getting things proper. Probably because it's too geared towards being simple and not really looking at approaching modeling the situation. And if it's not modeling it properly, because it avoids input due to we want to keep it simple considerations, the output is going to be wonky. Simple example. What are the two words fundamental you hear from a lot of people about just, shooting iron sights? Windage and elevation. Remove one. Things aren't going to pan out right if you take one away. That's all. So that's why I look at skills and attributes as being separate, but they're like gears. They mesh together in the machine to make things go. Take one out, you get a completely different machine. I think they're complementary of one another.